Are we ready?
Julie's on here. So it's 7 o'clock.
You good? All right. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Here.
Fallon,
Here.
Farrell,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Randall,
Here.
Wood, here, Mayor Walker.
Here. Thank you. Addition or amendments to the agenda?
Yes, Your Honor, we've added a second executive session for legal counsel. So when we get to that, we'll announce the.
All right, thank you. Adoption of consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir,
yeah, I'd like to move that we adopt consent agenda A and B and hold item C over for discussion.
any discussion from the council? That's fine. It's been, okay. It's been moved and seconded to the adoption of the consent agenda items A and B only, and put item C, OLCC special event application for TIB. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? All right. Then we will go ahead and discuss the OLCC special event application. Approval for Thunder Island Brewing. Butch.
Okay. On the application, item 13 asks if the event is outdoors, says yes. And item 14, you describe the primary activity. It's a family-friendly haunted house and activity. Why do you need an alcohol license for a family-friendly haunted house? And the diagram shows for additional drinking area, it does not show for a haunted house, so I'm a little bit confused at what they're really asking this for.
Can we get some clarification from TIB, or should we?
Again, this is just the license that allows them to serve outdoors at a special event. As long as the kids are not allowed in the beer garden, they're in their, which happens. I mean, that's what they do. It's just like last year, and it was just hay bales. I think, or they did little bays kind of thing. It wasn't-
Yeah, and the haunted house was off to the side of the drinking area. If they're doing it exactly like they did last year. So there was a segregation there between.
Is that the little black area right there? I think in the map.
Yeah, I think it is. So.
Well, they use that in their prior descriptions as a stage area.
Can I comment?
Yes, please.
Number one, it's really hard to hear when you're on Zoom when people have masks on. I understand the mask, but you sound pretty muffled. So I kind of got every couple words. So, but in regards to TBI, I believe it's consists of like 4 or 5 parking spots. Once again, they're not asking for taking up space on Wanapa. I've asked for, and just like with their last one, that I want to just, my main concern is that John Logan blesses it off and makes sure that everything is up to code and safe. But I don't believe 4 or 5 spots will impact any, it's not going to create a big traffic jam or parking restrictions on Wanapa.
Any other comments, Butch? So do we need to put this in the form of a motion or? Okay. Is there a motion to allow OLCC special event application approval for Thunder Island Brewing?
I would make a motion to approve the OLCC licensing for Thunder Island, excuse me, Brewing.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to the OLCC special event application approval for Thunder Island Brewing. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
All right. Butch, do you want to talk about your vote?
Same as last time, as long as they're taking away parking and putting extra pressure on the neighborhood.
So noted, thank you. Public hearings. Appointment to committees, the tourism, Val Stepanchuk, I excuse the pronunciation, and Harry Troger.
That's correct.
Okay,
And since we don't have a viable tourism committee at the moment, I would encourage you to approve these.
well, so approved.
Harry was on the tourism committee before, and Val is a photographer in the area that does a lot of magazines.
Okay,
So,
Yeah, I know
Okay.
both of them. I have 100% for both of them.
okay.
thank you.
Second reading of ordinance 454, amending procedures for the collection of transient lodging tax.
Again, this is the procedural document that we need to pass in order to enter an intergovernmental agreement with the state of Oregon to have them do the registration, inspection, auditing, and collection of transient lodging taxes at all of our commercial providers and Airbnbs and short-term rental. Happy to answer any questions.
I have a question.
Brenda?
Your Honor, I'd like, was there, we were just amending ordinance 454, right? Amending it?
Yes, that's correct. But it's a replacement.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a way to, I mean, I'm all for it, but is there a way to get a copy of the original that's kind of?
Oh, sure.
See?
Sure.
Okay.
If you look at the red line copy, then they put a red line copy in here.
No, not mine.
In the first, the last pack.
Last picture.
Yeah, it showed all of the, I think it showed all of the changes to the ordinance in red. But if not, I can send it to you tomorrow or Maryland.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Okay, we'll send it to you tomorrow.
So do we need to table this or?
I don't think so. She's still in favor of it. She
I'm
just
still
wants
in
to.
favor of it.
Okay.
I just want to be able to compare
Absolutely.
apples to apples.
Thank you. We need to put this to a vote,
Please, there's a motion at the bottom of the staff report.
okay?
I move to approve ordinance number 454, amended procedures for the collection of transient lodging tax.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the second reading of ordinance 454, amending procedures for the collection of transient lodging tax. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Passed unanimous. Thank you.
Yes,
Approved,
she did. She did. Excuse me, it says my battery is running.
Oh, you're unplugged from your computer.
Oh, man. You did that to me.
Mhm.
Good eye.
okay. Approve resolution number 1467, increasing electric utility rates.
As we talked about in the past, BPA is raising their rates, transmission rates 8.5%, power rates 25.5%. This is an attempt to share, to get the commercial and general service customers to pay a little bit more and give our residents a little bit of a break, with a 10% increase for residents and a 13% increase for general service, commercial and industrial customers.
Any discussion?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I understand it pretty well. We've gone over this before, pretty well. It's, council has, not this council, but we've known that this point in time was going to come. And then we discussed about, how to share the burden and stuff. And I think before that, we kind of came to a consensus that we agree with what Gordon has put on. It's just a reminder.
Okay. Yeah, I think Brenda, it was your input that changed the rates a little bit to put a less of a burden on our residential. But we haven't had a raise in rates for 13 years, 15 years. Okay.
No, 6 was.
And nobody likes to raise them. But,
Nope.
the writing's kind of on the wall on this one.
Yeah, our backs are pressed to the wall.
Yeah.
So I have to turn around and read it. Thank you.
So, is there a motion?
I have a question real quick.
Yes, ma'am.
I was reading on it and the page right behind the staff report one. On right below the graph there, the third paragraph. It talks about in option 2 per kilowatt hour increase 13.6 for residential customers and 10.7 for commercial.
Right.
Was that just showing that as an,
That was.
right, if we did that, because
Right.
I thought we were doing less for residential.
This is option 2.
Okay,
And then we came back with option 3 and you chose option 3.
okay, yes.
Yeah,
Just wanted to
so,
make sure.
And that's the 10% and 13%.
Okay.
yeah, average of 12% overall.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Any other discussion?
There is a comment from Mr. Cody Steelman. I didn't mention the law is clear. Surplus revenue can only be spent for the purpose of reducing property tax. Is there anything else you want to say, Cody? It's not.
Okay,
It's let's check. Pretty much said it, he said. Thank you, Cody. All right,
Kathy, did you want to weigh in on this?
There we go. I unmuted. I do. Like with everyone else, I mean, I dread increases just as much as everybody else does, but I think consensus coming up with this plan, I'm in favor for it. We're up against a wall. If our rates are being increased, we have to be able to keep up to that. We can't go in a deficit every year. So we need to meet those needs. And I don't know, we've had quite a bit of discussion about it. None of us like it, but I'm in favor for what we came up with.
Julie, is there anything you wanted to add?
So
Julie?
my audio keeps going in and out. Sorry. No, I am not going to vote on it. I don't completely understand it. And if everybody else is in favor, I don't want to hold it up. But that's just me right now.
give me a call tomorrow sometime when we can talk about it.
All right,
so you can
thanks.
feel comfortable.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve resolution 1467 to increase electric utility rates?
Your Honor,
Sir,
I would like to move to approve resolution number 1467, which increases the power rates for all electricity users an average of 12%.
I second it.
Question. Do we need to put the percentages in the motion?
No.
Okay,
It's
thank
in
you.
It's in the resolution.
All right, thank you. Butch?
What?
Yeah, are you recommending option one?
No, this is the option that was taken was option 3.
Okay, I heard you say 12%.
It's average of 12%.
Average.
All right.
Yeah, it's not the straight 12%, it's the average between the 2 and the 13.
Oh, okay. Now I understand. I'm clear. Thank you.
Tammy?
Gordon, question?
Go ahead.
So let's have Tammy first and then
Okay,
Kathy will have you.
okay.
I just want to make sure that when we voice this out to our residents, that we don't say average 12%, but that we say 10 and 13.
Okay, I'm writing the newsletter article today to start.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So, Mr. Cody Steelman has 2 questions. How will you account for the stolen funds since 2007? Are you going to be personally responsible? And we appreciate his questions. They are not relevant at this point.
Kathy?
I just, Tammy brought up what was my concern. I just want to make sure that it's communicated that it's not the 12% and then give the accurate percentages. So
Right.
Thank you.
that's it.
Is there a motion?
We just did it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Just making sure.
We need a
Second.
second.
I second.
Okay. Been moved and seconded to approve resolution 1467, increasing electric utility rates. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Was Julie gonna abstain?
Ask her if she's-
Julie?
Yes, I am. I am.
You, oh,
Thank you.
that's fine. Okay. It passes. With 1 abstention. Selection of League of Oregon Cities Business Meeting Delegates.
While the conference has been canceled, they are still going to have the annual business meeting. Butch was registered. I'm assuming he's gonna wanna go to the business meeting virtually.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
If that's okay with the rest of you, if you wanna make him the voting delegate, I will pass that on to the League of Oregon Cities.
Okay,
Thank you, Butch.
any
Yes,
discussion? Thank you, Butch.
You wanna know how to vote, Butch, or do you?
Oh, I will take the consensus.
I'm gonna tell you a little quick story. I was a voting delegate many years ago in the League of Oregon Cities. And I decided, for whatever reason, to vote no. For one. So they vote all in favor, they don't raise their little cards. And then it's all opposed, and I raised my hand and they ignored me until I voted back. So. Thank you.
Appearance of interested citizens to share a variety of perspectives on issues facing our community. Anybody signed up? Nope. Okay. Reports and presentations, city committees, city administrator Zimmerman report.
Thank you. The first question up on my report is it okay, please, to hire a finance director that can work side by side with Mary Ann for 6 months to learn everything that Mary Ann does, to go through a budget cycle, a budget process with us, so that we don't lose anything when Mary Ann retires on June 30th, 2022. It's going to cost us about an additional $10,000 over that 10-month period. We've been able to save some monies because the clerk that we currently have is working half-time, and we can work some other budget magic to get that done. But it seems to make, this is with both Mary Ann and I leaving at the same time, it seems to be a little prudent to hire somebody that's going to be the finance director, and knowing that they're going to get that position when we're done, going through 6 months side-by-side training, where both Mary Ann and the new director would be doing all the utility billing, and in addition to all of the finance director positions and the human resources position. So then when Mary Ann leaves, the finance director, before she leaves, they can hire the new utility billing clerk, and the new finance director will know how to use the software. It seems like a smoother transition than trying to hire somebody new. So,
Can I ask you a question, Gordon? Can I ask Gordon a question?
Richard? Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Gordon. I was just gonna find out. So there's on the budget on the personal line items for the staff. Is that do we have to borrow money, or is it's already there we can use?
it's already there, so we can we can just move money around to get it done. Some of it's may come out of contingency, depends on when we hire them, what salary we hire them at.
I'd just like to make the comment that I think it's a great value personally. So I would definitely go along with it.
How did we come up with the 6 months?
By the time we get somebody hired, since I'm going to be gone, and I want to be involved in this particular process, we won't be able to hire until November, and starting somebody 2 weeks before Christmas is kind of difficult. And so I would assume that we would have somebody would start right at the beginning of January and have that 6 months.
Did Mary Ann have input for this?
She did. Yeah, she is much more comfortable with this than what we had originally planned.
Discussion? Kathy, did you have something?
I do. Gordon, first of all, can you clarify, because you had mentioned something about paying somebody $18 an hour. Is that your plan right now for 6 months to pay somebody?
That's our $18 an hour is the currently budgeted for the utility billing position. We're going to have to pay somebody probably 5 or 10% less than what Mary Ann is getting. So when they do get the job, they would move up to Mary Ann's level of pay. That's the only way we're gonna attract somebody that has experience and accounting background. Is we're gonna
Right.
have to pay for it. So,
I would really, what I'd like to see is the contract, the hiring contract for Mary Ann, and I'd like to see the hiring contract for you. I think they're two really, so we can get a good idea of, looking for the next ones.
I'm
This-
the only one
these
under
are-
contract.
Okay, well, these are really, really big positions. I don't believe what Mary Ann makes. In this day and age, people are getting top dollar for wages these days. I have great concern that we'll be even to replace her at the wage that she's at. I mean, you can go to, like I said in the last meeting, it wasn't reflected in minutes, but you can go to Taco Bell and make $18 an hour. And so,
18 is for the utility billing position. Mary Ann's
Right.
position is 30 or 32.
right, and I have a hard time understanding why it's going to take 6 months to train someone. I understand about a smooth transition, and I am all supportive of smooth transitions, but I'm not supportive of training someone for 6 months. And I understand too about a full cycle for budget, but once again, that's financially impacts the city quite a bit. And so I'd like to see that training time shorten up. And then really, I would like to see this on a topic of an agenda for the next couple meetings, so we can actually have time and dive into it, because Gordon, your position, Mary Ann's position, these are really, really intricate key positions. And I think this is going to be way more than putting an ad in the paper or anything. We might need a recruiter. We really need to, I think they're really, really important positions, and it's going to take a while to find someone. So I just would like to get it on the agenda versus giving you the go ahead right now. I'd like to have further discussion and get it on the agenda so everyone can have a clear understanding of the steps moving forward, who's doing the hiring, who's doing the interviewing, and I would just like more information.
What's your timeline expectations for this?
There's got to be some young finance director or assistant finance director somewhere that wants to come to a small community in the Gorge. We can put this on the agenda for November when I get back, and we'll put on the job descriptions, we'll put on those kinds of things, and maybe we push this back a little bit so that we don't hire in February. The budget process starts in January, at the end of January. And when we have our planning session and you identify what the goals are for the next year. So it would be nice to have somebody come through and be with us for the whole project, but I understand Kathy's concerns, and we'll be happy to take this up in November when I return.
I think she gets a lot of good points to this, because it's been my expectation that these kind of positions do take some time for both the new and the
Yeah, and
old.
maybe we advertise at the same time, begin advertising at the same time.
6 months is a long time.
It is, but Mary Ann's job is.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, I have no doubt in what Mary Ann does. It's just that in similar positions, it's been my experience that, this is a 2 month or 3 month, 6 months. Kathy's right. I think we need to talk about this.
Okay, that's perfect.
Any other, Brenda?
Your Honor, I would like to see job descriptions, what exactly we're looking for, because I personally feel like whenever I heard Mary Ann at City Council, when we had the city people come and meet us, the department heads, her job description was quite I mean, she's doing payroll, she's doing audit, she's doing budget, she's doing finances and ledgers for all of, it's not just like it's one checkbook. You know, she's got multiples, I mean, and then human resources and anything, scheduling, whatever else, I mean, I would like to see job descriptions, because I don't know that I think 2 months is adequate, but I don't know, because I don't know what the job description is, but I know her job description is quite lengthy.
I would just like to add to all that, that I think it's very important for a transition to go as smooth as possible. And if it takes more than 2 months, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Well, let's put it
That's
this
a
way.
major, that's one of the major jobs.
Yeah.
For the city.
Oh, yeah. No, Kathy, you had
And it's-
something else?
Yeah, I just wanted to agree with Brenda. I mean, I remember when Mary Ann came and spoke, and I can't tell you, Mary Ann, every single thing, but I just kept thinking, holy cow, what is not on your list? So
Yeah.
that's why I would really like more discussion as well. And but somebody, if we get somebody who is qualified, they're going to pick it up. So, but I would like to see more discussion. That's all.
And that's fine, and that's really our hope, because it is an important position,
Mhm.
probably more important than my position. So,
Oh, they're both important. They're both important.
thank you, Kathy, I'll send you a $20 bill in the mail. So number 2, October. I don't know if you really want to meet in October. There is nothing on our planning calendar at this point. If we need to call something, we can, whatever you want to do. Kathy is willing to come and be here on the 11th. I will, if all the flights occur, I will be back the late afternoon of the 25th. In time to come for council meeting, but I won't have done the staff report. So it's really up to you. You want a month off to enjoy fall?
You know, I think with the discussion we just had, I'd like to use that, our next meeting to, start to delve into this a little bit. Kathy can sit in for you. That's fine.
All right, we'll do that on the 11th.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you can make a decision about the 25th.
Is that okay with everybody? Danny? You good?
Since you won't be here for that meeting, I wanted to ask, have we ever used a recruiter to hire anybody?
Paul Cook, the interim, ran the last recruitment, and he's still available. He's cheaper than Prothman or any of the other groups that would charge you $15,000, $20,000 to recruit my position.
Right.
So
It's just something to think about.
it is. We put $10,000 in to recruit my position because we hadn't come to this metamorphosis yet. So if we need to find more, we'll figure out how to find more money.
Kathy?
I would just like to make a comment. I would not be in support of Paul. I would not be supportive of that. I would like to find a profession, because once again, I can't emphasize enough. I mean, is it a $20 million budget? Is that what we've got? And then running the city and as its growth, I think it's really, really important. And we can check into a professional recruiter, but I would like to find somebody that's what their job is. And that's, I think we need the caliber to help find these key positions, but we can discuss that more in the next meeting. But I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, the League of Oregon Cities was,
They do not do it.
oh, they don't,
No,
okay.
they
Well,
had a situation in recruitment banks where they actually proposed a convicted felon. They said, no, we're not.
yeah, that would put a damper on things.
But Kathy, just for your information, Paul is a professional. He recruited me in Mount Angel. He recruited me
Well,
here. So I understand.
Right, but I don't want to get into logistics on why. I've seen some past dealings that I find them unprofessional. I find them,
That's enough. I just.
Yeah,
just wanted
that's all I'm gonna say.
You
that's
got me
all I'm
here.
gonna say.
Okay, well, we can discuss that in the upcoming meeting.
Sure.
Julie, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I'm good, thanks.
All right,
Okay, number 3, Mid-Columbia Economic Development District. That is the federal economic development arm. They do a lot of our work for us on our grant writing and grant administration. There is a position on the MCHED board that is filled by representatives from cities in Hood River County, of which there are 2, Hood River and Cascade Locks. The previous council put me in that position. My service ended this month. Mark Sandmiller from River City Council will be taking the next 2 years. And then in September of 2023, we'll fall back to a representative from the city. It does not have to be a city councilor. It doesn't have to be a city administrator. You can choose anybody from the city. But that's to look forward to in September of 2023 if you're still here.
is that a monthly meeting or bi-monthly?
It's a quarterly meeting, unless you're getting on the executive committee and, or the loan committee or the transit committee. Or
Okay,
They're 2-hour meetings every quarter. Cascade Lock Cemetery, Tamara had a question about monuments. The cemetery was a city asset that we administer, and it's been decades. We could not find exactly when the city took over that position, but we did find that it was our bylaws and rules for running the cemetery are similar to all the rest of the cemeteries in River County. We use the headstones, the flat markers, so that we can run the lawnmowers over there without having to weed eat around monuments. And what that does is it saves us money. It's easier to operate. You can include, if you allowed monuments to be in, the problem is if the city's running the lawnmower and they nick a monument, who's going to repair it at what cost? So and then if the family is here, they put in the monument and then they all die off and the kids move away, who's going to take care of the money? So that being said, I've been asked to explain the process for getting something on the ballot for a vote of the people. There are 2 processes: referendum sponsored by the city council or an initiative petition for a new law, or a referendum referring a city ordinance to voters sponsored by a citizen petitioner. So let me explain the difference of the 2. If the city council wants to allow monuments in the cemetery, for example, the city council can pass a resolution that refers the question to the ballot. That's a referendum. Citizens can write an initiative petition that says, we will pass a law that says we will allow monuments in the cemetery, again, as an example. And then if we get the adequate number of signatures, it goes on the ballot, it's voted for, and then the city has to implement it. There's also initiative for a referendum. If the city passes a law, petitioners can petition to put that law on the ballot for approval by the citizens. So it's a variant of the initiative and the referendum. In any case, the initiative petition requires 15% of the registered voters in the affected precincts, and a referendum requires only 10% of the registered voters in valid signatures in the petition. Those rules can be found under the City of Oregon website, elections and estimated referendums and referrals. The City of Cascade Locks charter requires any new fee, tax, or charge, not a rate, to be referred to the voters for approval. Most money matters in Oregon require a supermajority. Supermajority is 50% of the voters have, 50% of the votes cast have to approve it, and 50% of the voters in that district, region, precinct have to vote. And so it's a double majority. In Cascade Locks, historically, our primary, which those are the votes that happen in the spring of even numbered years, only 30% of our electorate votes. So that fails the super majority because 50% didn't vote. So that puts money matters to the general election, which is in November of even numbered years. And we historically have 75 to 80% of our registered voters vote in the general elections. So that's where money must be. And it doesn't matter, you don't have to have a super majority on a general election ballot. So is that clear as mud?
Yes.
No, but maybe I can,
Yeah, so you can go, it's all on there. You can.
Okay.
Can I ask you one question about it? Or-
Sure.
Can you give us an idea, maybe a facsimile or something about what the vote will be on? I'm talking about what it'll say, what it'll say.
Again, I don't know, if the monuments were the issue, then the question that has to be approved by the district attorney.
What's the
and the
intent?
district
What's
court.
the intent?
What's the intent is, should the city allow monuments, above ground monuments be placed in the Cascade Lock Cemetery? Something like that. And then the petitioner has to write an explanation. So the question and the explanation is first reviewed by the city attorney, then reviewed by the district court and approved to make sure that it's constitutional, that it's legal, that it meets the requirements. You can only have one topic per question kind of thing. And then when that's all approved, now that's for a petition, initiative petition. If you're looking for a referendum, you don't have to have the approval of the question or the approval of the district court before you collect signatures. You have to have that approval if you have an initiative petition that's not a referendum, on a referendum. Again, it's all on the state's websites for your enlightenment. And then you have to have 15% or 10%, depending upon what you're doing, of registered voters in that district, in the city limits, have to be presented and approved. And it has to happen, and I forget the time frame, something like 45 days ahead of the general election date. So you would have the summer to collect those kinds of signatures. Get it on the ballot. All those rules are, there's a whole handbook of the state that explains all that. So does that help you a little bit more, Tamara?
yeah, it does, yeah.
It is not a simple process, but it's not difficult. It's just, you've got to follow the steps to make sure that it's done. And then you have to understand the consequences. You know, you're going to increase the costs to the city, and how are you going to pay for it? So
There was talk earlier in the last year about a memorial wall.
yes, we passed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be above ground. I mean,
It
that
would be, yes, but it would be a wall. It's not a headstone in the middle of the lawn when that comes up. That's the kind of monument we're talking.
right, I get that.
So it would be a cement little plaza,
Yeah.
as soon as we get the grant money to do it.
Okay.
So anyway, so I just wanted to clarify that for you. TGM grant, we applied for a transportation growth management grant to review our transportation system plan, which was completed in 2001. We estimated the cost would be about $200,000, which the city would give 30,000, and the state would give us 170,000 to do that. For the second year in a row, we have been denied. So we'll try it again next year. Because our 2001 transportation system plan has 5 major projects in it. We have done none of them. And we need to have the costs for those projects updated. We need to have the projections for population updated, because in 2001, we said by the year 2020, we would have 16,000 or 1,675 people. We don't, we only have 1,420. But growth rate has, in the last 5 years, in case you haven't noticed, has gone up about 25 or 30%. So I applied to get our transportation system plan upgraded, and we did get it. Kathy, the event at Tamara, the meet and greet last Friday night, I don't know who ordered the weather, but I wish to thank them for that.
Yeah.
It was a marvelous time to get together. I do have to say that one of the participants, one of the people that was there, tested positive for COVID on Saturday. So we have contacted the people that person was in contact with and let them know that if they begin to be symptomatic, to go get tested. That's the only encounter we had on that, but it was a great event. And this Friday night, there's another great event if you're looking for something to do. It's the Magical History Cruise aboard the Columbia Gorge Stern Wheeler. Boarding begins at 5:30. The cruise leaves at 6. It's a 3-hour cruise, and we hope we don't get shipwrecked on Gilligan's Island.
Bradford Island.
Bradford Island. Yeah, there we go. We think we have finally figured out how to put the recording of our city council meetings on YouTube. So we will find out tomorrow if we are successful in that. And like and share us on Facebook. And that is the end of my report.
I have a question on that.
Sure.
I know someone had an issue with being timed out. I just want to say that I did a Zoom call planning the picnic when Hood River, I mean, not Hood River, the port has paid for Zoom. And even though they had paid for it, I was timed out, and so were a couple of other people. So I don't know if it's a Zoom thing that they're having issues.
Huh, that's really strange
Yeah,
because
because it did happen.
we're the originator of the broadcast and we have a license. We should not be timed out.
And so did the port. So I got zoomed out and then I just went back in.
Yeah,
But I just wanted to let you know
I
it is
appreciate that.
happening.
I appreciate that. I don't know, Zoom's not the answer to everything. Anyway, thank you.
Mayor and city council comments. Start with Julie.
I don't have any comments tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. Butch?
I'd like to thank staff for all their hard work and putting together the materials that we need to succeed in these meetings. And I'd also like to congratulate Val and Harry for stepping forward and joining the tourism committee. Both of them, by their resumes, look like they have a great deal that they can contribute to our tourism committee. The dry creek water, has the engineer gotten to it?
The engineer has not gotten to it.
Can we call him and
I have been calling him at least twice a week,
where's his office?
the Dalles.
Maybe somebody will make.
He is in the midst of projects for the port. He's in the midst. I will try again, but he's got to come up with the cost before I can recommend to you what to do.
All right.
Could I have his office address and
Sure.
contact information? I don't want to go through another summer with that situation being what it is.
Well, it's not just summer, it's winter too. So, well, they probably don't have as much, little better water pressure because nobody watering their lawns.
Yeah.
And during my travel, I happened to stop in Key West, Florida, and I met the city commissioner there, Billy Wardlaw. And he gave me this challenge point from the city. And they're beautiful. And I think we should get something like this so we can give it to people that are in the tourism committee, and if they've been there a certain amount of time, something more than just a pat on the back. Thank you. And a lot of people collect these, so if you'd like to take a look at it, it's a really nice coin.
That's a good idea.
So the history of challenge coins started in this military, didn't it?
Yeah.
So that you could one up somebody if you had a more impressive challenge coin than the guy who challenges you. Is that?
That was kind of the general staff like to do that.
Yeah.
Kathy?
There we go, unmuted. First of all, of course, thank city staff. I know how hard you work and always appreciate all the packet and the information and the time. And then to recap the event. Thank you, Bobby. You attended, Mayor Walker, you attended a few meetings, you came, you were amazing. You were just like, tell me what you need and I'll do it. And we had about between 90 and 100 people total. So it was a really nice turnout. Yes, we looked out with weather. Gordon, you did a great job calling and you came, and thank you so much. And Tammy, you were a really super big help, and it just took a team. It was quite an undertaking. A big thank you to the port. Boy, their team there is just amazing. Brittany was just a complete rock star with keeping everybody in track with minutes and who's doing what and everything. And it was fun. It was fun. Tammy and I and the port on the meetings, and I had a good time, and it was just, and we're going to be under budget. I would like to, we can not talk about it now, but do it again next year, but maybe make it more of a community get together. Just, it was hard to make it a meet and greet with so many people who didn't attend from the city or the port. So it made it a little difficult, but maybe I think overall people were very happy, relaxed, and they would like to do it again. It felt good. So we can maybe get something on the calendar for next year, way in advance, so we have time to plan, and then probably we'll get away with staying within the same budget as well. There was food left over. The fire department took that. They were very happy. You give a bunch of guys burgers and hot dogs, and they were they were very happy with that. Yes, there is one person that had COVID. That's why I'm here, because that person hugged me twice. So I thought, I'm just going to be careful and see, even though they had their mask on and things like that, but I'm just going to be careful. I do have a concern. What's that?
No, you said anything. Go ahead.
Oh, so I do have a concern, with the school, if this individual had been their family had been notified that a classmate in their class, which was 3 feet from this person, had been notified that there was someone who had been tested positive, then this family would not even have come to the event. So I know we're not the school, but I do have a concern about that. So, but it's a fine line notifying somebody if they have a COVID or not. But as a parent, I would want to know if my students, my child's classmates had COVID, because then I would not go to events and things like that. But otherwise, and congratulations to our new tourism members. I think they're both great, and it's gonna add a lot of positive things to the community, and just looking for it. And thank you to everybody. That's it.
Thank you. Brenda?
Yeah, thanks to the city and the staff for all they do. And then I just have a couple questions on with the Hood River Sheriff's Office. We used to have like for not a better word, but a community sheriff. Like we at least got that person on a regular basis and they kind of went around and got to know the people and what I'm seeing on the log here is like we're pretty much always getting a different deputy.
Caitlin Cleese is the deputy assigned to our community.
Okay.
She's the one that does the 27 hours a week here.
And she did attend the meet and greet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and it's like a year-long assignment.
Mhm.
So all the rest of them are the ones who respond after hours.
Oh, okay, okay,
Thank you, though. Good question.
yeah. And then, the other thing I wanted to bring up was about Dry Creek, the water too. Yeah, it's probably not as bad in the winter, but if I couldn't run my washing machine and my dishwasher at the same time in my house, I would be upset with the city.
We understand.
And I don't know what we need to do to get this engineer going.
I'm gonna attempt to try and
Yeah, we
meet with this
definitely need to
gentleman.
do something. Maybe it's a different, I don't know what a different, I don't know what we need to do, but we definitely need to help.
This is the engineer that did the system.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
and then, I think that's all that I have. Yep, that's it.
Thank you. Tammy?
Yeah, I wanted to thank the city, the staff and the fire department also because they rocked flipping those burgers, let me tell you. And all the people that were able to come to it. Was there a plan, Kathy, about reviewing those surveys?
We're gonna set a follow-up meeting with the port, so I'll do that. And then maybe at the next meeting, we can talk about the surveys. We can get that on the agenda.
Let's do that.
Yeah, that would be great. And also, if I can find out if people are thinking about doing a trunk or treat again this year, I'd like for the city to consider doing a candy donation to help out with that. And I know both Val and Harry, and I think that they'll be great on the tourism committee. And that's all I got.
Let me jump ahead of you, Richard. I have received a letter or note. It's a letter of resignation. It says, Honorable Mayor, council members, city staff, and Cascade Lock citizens. October 11th will be my last council meeting. And I want to thank everyone for giving me the opportunity to serve our community. It's signed Richard Randall. Richard kind of gone through the wards with us over some prior things, and I've always appreciated his honesty and his willingness to listen to everybody. And sir, you're going to be missed. And I really appreciated your calm manner and we've had some folks that were a little upset and boisterous, and yours has been a voice of reason. I really appreciate your help.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. Yeah,
Okay, now it's your turn.
thank you, sir. Thank you. You're right, though. We went through some brutal times. It was like we were like, I mean, sometimes it got so intense that, what went through my mind is somebody's liable to take a pistol out and shoot someone. I mean, it was really that disgusting. But anyway, I just, the reason why I'm resigning, a lot of people know, is because I have to reposition my life because so a little bit of personal information I gave out, which is fine. It doesn't bother me if people know, but I still owe us about $70,000 on a mortgage on my house. And I'm on a fixed income now, so my wife and I have to reposition ourselves in order to live comfortably in our golden years. So we did sell the house, and the closing date is coming up probably around the 15th of October. And so right after that, we'll be leaving. We're gonna head through. We're gonna head down 97 through 395. We're gonna go down, skirt by Death Valley, and then we're gonna go through Bullhead, and then we're gonna go through Arizona Flagstaff and through that area, and we're gonna go through Sedona, and then we're gonna go into Texas, which is like Lubbock, Texas, and then somewhere between there and Pueblo, Colorado is where we're interested in looking. So it's almost going to be like an adventure, and I just want to thank everybody for the love of the community and giving of themselves go to try to steer the community into a more prosperous situation. But anyway, I appreciate each and every one of you, and the only thing that I would like to leave with the council is that when I first came on the council, what motivated me to come in onto the council was to help ground the council, because there was too many people seeking to divide the community. And so I wanted to see if I could get and see what I could contribute to try to solve the disputes that we had in our community. First, it was the casino, and that was pretty brutal. But I mean, the community was divided, and then the community was divided again over the fire department. And then the community again was divided over Nestle. And it's pretty difficult to repair relationships, because people get pretty set in their ways about how they feel about things. And so I've always tried to reconcile and to do what I can to try to bring people together. I mean, there was times when it was useless. You just had to kind of go with what was going on and just try to reason with people. And so now I just want to try to give that charge to somebody to try to continue to try to heal the community. Recently, you guys experienced, there was another attempt to divide the community over the climate change thing. And we're just a small city. A lot of that's, a lot of people try to bring in politics that they have no business bringing into a small city government like this. And all it does is cause problems and heartaches and division. And so that's why I always try to be careful to try to reason with people, not to go down the road of something that will divide the community like that. So anyway, I have. It's funny that you. I was going to talk about this too. I didn't think so. You pretty much did. So I was just going to find out, because I know it's probably getting close to. Probably next year. You probably need to talk to Sheriff English he probably needs to come out. And just to reassure the community, you know, and see if he has any ideas to help. One more issue I'd like to bring up is it's hard to know the future. It's a lot of times it's hard to look ahead. But if I think another big issue I believe is going to come up is what I put on record in the city hall, and that is the congestion of the city. I know paid parking is part of the solution, and that's why I supported that, and I still recommend that people look at that issue really hard, because you guys are going to be, it's going to be tough, because things are going to, especially next year, COVID, you know, relaxes and stuff. This community is going to be overwhelmed at one point. And so, but again, I appreciate the community giving me the opportunity to serve. And like I was saying, that's the main reason why I came, got involved in politics, because the community needed so many things done for it that was being neglected because of all of the turmoil that kept coming on. That's why the last council, I really appreciated their effort to try to bring the community together, and so we could tackle the issues at hand that which is our, you know, infrastructure grid. Basically, it was being ignored. The can kept being kicked down the road, and so I just feel good about being part of helping bring the community forward. I'm going to miss it a little bit, but I don't know how much I'm going to be involved in politics in the future. It just all depends. It all depends the community I'm in and what's going on and everything. Because there's things I want to do to enjoy, you know. I have some pursuits I want to enjoy now, so I'll have the opportunity now to do it. Again, I want to thank you. I want to thank each and every one of you for volunteering and taking on the hard task of making some real hard decisions. I want to thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor.
Well said. I got to tell you, I was so proud of Kathy and Tammy for the work they did to put on the meet and greet. Kathy was kind of like a General Patton. She had it all mapped out, and we need this and this, and it was just amazing. And the Port of Cascade Locks and the city got a chance to partner on something, and it came out very well. I was happy to see the John with the fire department, and you know, the Hood River County Sheriff deputy was there, and I know that Tammy, I think you bought some gifts to give away in a raffle.
I did one, yeah.
That's amazing. And you know, the businesses, if you were there during the raffle to listen to some, you know, what each of those folks gave was really amazing. And again, Kathy and Tammy, my hat's off to you. I know you worked very hard on it. Brittany and Olga Port, and you know, the park looked great. So you know, my thanks to Todd and those folks for working so hard. Jesse was there, and just a lot of people that I hadn't seen for a while, and it was good to see them, and it was good to hear how much the businesses, you know, kicked in for all those prizes. And hopefully we'll get a good idea of where the folks in town are at with, when we get to look at the survey. We'll put that on the agenda of the next meeting and talk about it some. We mentioned Friday is a magical history tour, and so if you got the time and it's something you want to do, I'd certainly like to see everybody out there. Talk about Richard a little bit. We're gonna have to go through the motions to get a new counselor and a new council president. Richard was my council president, so we'll have to replace him on
That
that.
didn't work too good when we were both sick at the time.
Yeah.
Kathy did good, though.
Kathy did very well. Thank you very much, Kathy. Again, if I've left somebody off of the meet and greet, my apologies, but it was very, very well spoken of. I think everybody had a good time, and I'd like to see us do that again.
Could I add something real quick?
Sure.
To my comment? Thank you. I forgot, I just wanted to, about July 31st, I became ill and I was tested that for COVID, and I was negative. But I went to the emergency room twice, and what happened was they said I had gastrointestinitis. They said that they did all kinds of tests. I mean, so, and they couldn't find nothing wrong with me. And nothing wrong with all my gizzards, all my innards. So I had no cancer, nothing, anything. So they couldn't really understand what was going on. But I've lost over 20 pounds. I didn't eat for probably almost 3 weeks. I couldn't, because I was too busy throwing up on it. So anyway, that's why I haven't been, that's why you haven't seen me. I just wanted to let you know that I wasn't being neglectful. I was just sick. Okay.
Other matters? Okay, we need to go into executive session under ORS 192-660D labor negotiations and ORS 192-660 legal counsel.
I'm gonna pause the thing again. We just need a motion to adjourn.
Okay, is there a motion on the floor to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, the moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
I suppose that's something you want to keep. Oh, this. Well, sir, I'm gonna miss you. Like I said, I could always count on